30 seconds.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Decipher Wars Radio. I'm your host, Mark Tuttle. It's week number 21. We got a big show today. Lots of things to tell you about. We got a great big reveal. We've got an email of the week today, which will win a great prize because it's a good question. So let's get right to it. First off, some news for this week. Don't forget, next week, this upcoming week, is your last chance to get your pre-orders in for your booster box of Nowhere to Hide to get your hands on the Inca Fighter foil promo from Nowhere to Hide. Just have your retailer pre-order your box from their favorite Decipher authorized distributor. When you pick up your box, they will have that Inca Fighter foil promo for you. But you got to get that pre-order in next week, folks. Nowhere to Hide releases on January 7th worldwide. Also, the Ikazuki Leader retail incentive promo should be hitting your local store any day now. If it hasn't already, all you have to do, go to your favorite store, pick up $10 worth of Wars TCG, and you will get a copy of that exclusive Ikazuki Leader foil promo. So, good stuff there too, folks, and that should be hitting stores any old time now, just in time for your Christmas shopping, as it were. All right, interview of the week. We've made some changes in-house here, kind of slid things around just a little bit, so we're bringing this gentleman back in. He's now the Wars TCG brand manager. It's Mr. Chuck Kallenbach. Chuck, welcome back to Wars Radio. How long has it been since you've been in here?
A long time.
I don't even remember what we talked about back then.
But that was back when I had a different job.
Yeah, but now you're the brand manager, so let's start off with you. Did an introduction on the message boards a couple of days ago and said, "Hi, I'm the brand manager. I'm responsible for everything." What exactly does a brand manager do?
It's a new position for the company, so my point of view is that I can't possibly be worse than the last guy. The most important thing I do, I think, is I represent the players, and I represent the game, and I just spend every moment of every day trying to make Wars the best game I possibly can.
All right, and it's also one of those things where a brand manager is kind of the focal point for all of the things that's happening with a property.
And like a nexus. Absolutely, everybody that has a question about Wars comes to me first.
Sure, and that way, you kind of keep your eye on the storyline,
sure,
how it's progressing. You keep an eye on the gameplay,
yep,
on various retail things that are going out the door here. So.
Absolutely, retail, sales, and marketing plans, long-term plans for the game.
Yeah. Now, you kind of started with, when we first started doing Wars, you did a lot of work on the story of Wars. Tell us about that whole process.
That's right. I got involved with that. Of course, Warren was extremely involved in that. I was kind of a researcher, editor for the story ideas that were originally developed by Warren and Cindy, our president, and Tim, our VP in the game studio. So I'm keeping my hand on the rudder of that ship and making sure that we have a story up for you guys every week, making sure that everything on the cards and the lore. We're working on concepting art ideas for set 3 for Edge of a Sword right now. So we come up with initial concepts for art, and then they modify them before they send them out to the artist. But making sure it's all integrated, so everything works together.
All right, now tell us where the story is going to go.
Obviously, the conflict on Ganymede was the big story in Nowhere to Hide. There'll be more resolution for that, and some incredible, I thought they were incredible, happenings in the Edge of a Sword set, which I can't really talk about right now. The whole idea for the second block, which we'll be talking about soon, which is sets 4, 5, and 6, is the rise of the Kizun and how they become aware of themselves, how society reacts to them, and how they really find their place in the universe that we've set up.
Sure, it's because the people that we have right now, the characters that are Kizun, they don't know they're a Kizun.
Quite a few of them don't, yeah.
They just know that they're kind of different and weird things have happened and they seem to have these abilities, but they're not really aware that there's anything else going on.
Some are more aware than others. You'll find out that, for example, in Tim's story, some Earthers are more aware of what Kizun are than some other Earthers who may be Kizun themselves. So yeah, well, they're finding out along with the players, and we have some exciting plans for that.
Now, how about gameplay with this kind of stuff? Are you involved in that?
I'm still doing conventioning passes on the cards, so I get a chance to say, what the heck are you guys thinking with this card? Which I said a couple times yesterday, but I see the gameplay, and I try to make sure that coordinates with what we have planned as well.
All right, now we're knee-deep in the middle of the first block, pretty much.
Yep.
Nowhere to Hide's just a couple of weeks away. Mm-hmm. What is the deal with Trigenium? What is it? What does it do? Why does everybody want it so bad?
It's a special element that is found in very few places, and there's peculiar circumstances on Ganymede that allows it to even exist, since it's a isotope that's rather unstable.
Will I find it in the back of my fridge?
That's very unlikely.
Okay.
Although I don't know what you eat in your fridge, but it is very unlikely. So it just happens to be something that the Shi want for their rift travel. The Mavericks have found out you can make magnetic monopoles out of it, which is way cool stuff. And the Kuei know the Shi want it, so they want it. The Ganjin want it for a reason that I won't talk about because you'll find out next week. And the Earthers have their own agenda.
Now, are the Earthers shaping up to be bad guys, or is it just kind of part of them?
People always talk about bad guys and good guys. Well, if you're a Ganjin player, then there's 4 factions full of bad guys. In fact, that's the way it works for everybody, because we're not just light and dark here. We got lots of different shades, and I want to see people, and I saw this on my tour, people who like to play Shi and talk like they were arrogant and everybody else was beneath them, and I thought that was great. Mm-hmm. So it's a multi-faction game here, and we have lots of enemies for everybody. There's bad guys in every faction, really.
Now, you're a very busy guy, obviously, but you do want to connect with the players and the fans out there.
Absolutely.
How do you do it?
A lot of presence on the message boards. I get all kinds of private messages, private emails. I respond to all of them. So if anybody has any questions or anything, please let me know.
What's the preferred method?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe a private message. Because
Okay.
I'm available for that in the message boards. And that always gets through the old spam filter.
Yes, okay.
Because that's a problem.
All right, so 2005, you know that it's going to start off in January with Nowhere to Hide on January 7th.
That's right.
Said all kinds of good things. Battle for Ganymede and the whole Triginium thing.
That's right. Some of those things will be resolved, and some new mysteries and conflicts will be begun. And that's another 167 card set. And then in May of 2005, we have Edge of a Sword. I think that name has been released, which is another 167 card set like Nowhere to Hide. And as I said, there's a bold Maverick heist that's coming up. There will be gladiators on Seal. You're going to see more of Seal, including a Coliseum there. And more stories about who actually wins and loses on Ganymede, because there will be changes to the holdings there on Ganymede. Later in 2005, we have a set called Motion of Mind. And again, this is the beginning of our Rise of the Kiezen block. Mm-hmm. And it releases in September 2005. And it's a big set like Incursion, 330 cards, 4 starter decks. Then in January of 2006 would be the next set, which is called Eye of Insight. Mm-hmm. We're sticking with the names based on the koans by Muman, the philosopher, that started off the whole thing. So that's what we have planned for 2005 and a little bit into 2006.
All right, let's check some email right now.
Email. We get email. We get your email every day.
I hate the emails, huh?
Here's your mail today.
Okay, and I wanted you to sit here for this email. This is a good email. This is from Vincent Yen. He says, Dear Wars Radio, I've been playing Wars ever since it came out in October, and I'm loving it every day. My question, though, is about the Ganjin faction. So far from what I've seen from the Ganjin sets, everyone who made it off Earth alive from Asia has been from Japan. And don't get me wrong, the idea of jetpack attack, flying ninjas with swords and guns are very nice and all. That is a very nice
It is very nice.
image. Yes, flying ninjas with swords and guns.
Uh-huh.
I was just wondering if Decipher was planning on introducing storyline or cards from the diverse Asian culture. It would be interesting to see the effects of the quantum particles on individuals who have disciplines in harnessing the power of chi or charka.
Absolutely.
What do you think about that?
Absolutely. This is something that we had planned from the beginning, and it was difficult for us to integrate for various reasons. One of the simplest reasons is I want to have access to a random generator for names, so we don't come up with names like... if I can give you a little story, when I ran my role-playing game in Fort Wayne, Indiana, which was a very small town, about 200,000 people, I would be running the game, and I would say, oh, you meet the guy, and his name is, and I would point out a name in the phone book. I'd say, Joe Smith, and they'd go, I went to high school with him, and it just kind of ruined the whole thing. So I wanted a way to generate lots of random names,
right.
And I found some ways to do that. The Japanese ones were the most accessible for me. Chinese names are much more... The Chinese language as a whole is very complicated and very inscrutable. And you'll find some Chinese names in Nowhere to Hide. So we're working on that, and we're working on including other Asian cultures, too. I want to expand that very much.
Ganjin was pretty much populated by the mass of the Asian population.
Mm-hmm, that's true.
When they left Earth. Have we delved into what exactly the accident was? What happened that
there was
made them leave?
A chain of nuclear catastrophes that had to do with basically a lot of nuclear fission power that created meltdowns and a series of meltdowns. And there was an artificial intelligence that was supposed to oversee this, which ended up shutting things down and actually saving millions and millions of lives. And that was the artificial intelligence that became their guide when they went to Ganjin. It was the same system.
Okay.
But this is also what pushed Earth technology towards fusion power, because the fission catastrophe made everybody pretty clear they didn't like nuclear fission anymore.
Gotcha.
So fusion research was already proceeding along, and that's when that was, I don't want to use the word quantum, but it was a quantum level breakthrough because fusion power is so much more efficient than fission power. So
Gotcha.
That made grav drives possible, and
which, of course, kind of jump-started the whole story.
that's right.
All right, big reveal for this week, folks. This is your favorite part. You want to see a new card from Nowhere to Hide. I mean, we're spoiling these all over the place. They're on the website, and you're going to see the magazines running them. And
You're going to have to look everywhere to find them all.
some of our other website partners out there are bringing stuff up. But here's one you haven't seen yet. This is called Last Stand. This is a card that works well with cards that add to your Ganjin support icons at a site or at a sector. So if you got a card like Ganjin Bot, Pilgrim's Transport, or the Geisha Bot that we spoiled earlier this week, this is a good card for that, and it's an awesome damage reducer. Here's the link for you, warstcg.fanhq.com/articles/article.aspx ID equals 591. Check it out. Ganjin Lost Interrupt called Last Stand. I think you'll like that one. All right, that's it for this week, folks. Next week will be the last Wars Radio before the end of the year, so we're going to try and answer some Christmas wishes. You tell me who you want to hear interviewed, what card you want spoiled, and what prize your letter for Wars Radio should win. Within reason. Let's not get silly here. Send your comments, suggestions, feedback to me at wars.radio@decipher.com. Chuck, thanks for joining us for Wars Radio.
Thanks for having me.
Happy holidays to you.
Same to you, and same to all you guys out there.
And we'll see you all next week.
Signal verification is complete.